In this video for Learning Objective 3.3, we will learn to add, edit, and delete records in a table. When the records, which is the information stored in your rows, or the fields in a column are added and deleted, the good thing about tables is they automatically adjust to be able to handle these new rows or columns. That means that any formatting you have in the table will extend to the new rows and columns. It also applies to calculations. For example, if a new row is added, your banded rows, so the colors in the alternating or even odd rows, will automatically be updated. Editing contents is actually the exact same way you edit any cell. So you basically just type in the cell and switch up what's written inside in order to edit. We'll do the example of editing together as our first example. So for our first example, let's say that we wanted to change A46 to have the word Esso instead of Shell, that they had the incorrect gas station. You would literally just type it in. And it doesn't make a difference if you're editing a cell or a table in that case. Next, we're going to look at how to add and delete rows or columns in a table. This is in the same way you would normally insert or delete columns. There are two main methods. One is on your Home tab to use the Insert button found here and Delete button found here for adding and deleting rows or columns. The other way is to right-click on a column or a row header and use Insert or Delete. So we can practice. For example, if we want to delete row 43, that's this one right here, you could click on the number for that row, right-click, then go to delete. Now that row is gone. If you want to insert a new row, with row 43 still selected, you could go to Insert here to add a new one. Or if you want to use the buttons instead, just go Insert, Sheet Rows, and you'll get a new row back. It did delete my method paid when I deleted that row, which was supposed to be debit, because now we're going to enter new information in the row we just added. That instead of being Topper's Pizza, it should have actually been Pizza Hut. The category is miscellaneous. The amount paid at Pizza Hut was $60. Don't need to type the $sign. It will automatically update in the table to match the formatting of the rest of the column. The due date, or the day that we got the pizza, April 7th, and it was paid with debit. So we have now updated our new row, but notice that when we added and removed and then added a row from the table, the bands are automatically updated. The banded rows update, you don't need to deal with that. Also, the accounting format automatically updated for the cell with the number. Now that we've seen how you can add and delete information from a table as well as edit it, we're going to talk about something a little bit more specific, adding what's called a calculated field. That means adding information that actually includes a formula that references information inside of the table. The actual definition of a calculated field is that your column will update automatically as field values in the table change. So the best way to see this is with an example, that when we enter this new formula that uses these calculated fields in the table, the whole table will actually update, saving you time, so you do not have to use the fill handle. The only thing that you have to get used to is instead of using regular cell references like A1, B1, A2, B2, etc., they will use what are called field references, which use the name of the variable inside of the table enclosed in square brackets. You can also might see this @ sign in front, that's called a structural reference, and it just means that it's referring to a row inside of the table. Like I said, the best way to do this is with an example. So let's add a new column, or what we would call a field, to the table called month. Notice as soon as I type in that word month and press enter, the formatting for the entire table gets updated for this new column. For this new column, we're going to use the month function. That means instead of taking the due date in its entirety, we're only going to extract the month so you can see which payments were made in April, which were made in May, and which were made in June, which are the 3 months we have data for in this quarterly budget data. Quarter of the year is 3 months. To use the month function, all you have to do is type in equals month, open up a bracket, then we'll select the due date. It's going to get the month from that date. So tell us that this is April, the 4th month. Notice that it doesn't have a reference to D35. it calls it at due date in square brackets. That's a structural reference, which means we're going to do this for every due date in the table. Close the bracket, press enter, and it applies the function for you to every single entry in the table. You do not have to use the fill handle. So all the 6 are the payments made in June, the 5s are the payments made in May, the 4 are the payments made in April. So the really great thing about doing calculations inside of a table is that they will automatically be applied to the entire table. It speeds up the process for you.